our curator of all of this, Mary Bertel.
Thank you, Ian. Okay, thank you all for coming. I've got a lot of notes here that I'm just going to read it off. That's why I needed my specs. So, as Ian said, we're here to honour those who have gone before us, arranged over 2 concerts, according to who was able to sing what and when. So it's not in any particular order. Bruce's video is very chronological, but this is all over the place, but that's the way we are. It's a folk process. To begin with, many of the traditional songs we sing today would not have been available without those who went out and collected them. Stan Arthur, who used to collect songs by listening and learning on the spot, as Bob Michelle mentioned. Ron Edwards, who published collected musics as Ramskull Press. Ron wrote the big book of Australian folk songs, which is down here, and the other one is Bill Scott's song. Bob Michelle was the original president of the Queensland Folk Federation when I was a committee member. He knew Stan had been collecting songs by listening and learning, so he started collecting songs by using a reel-to-reel tape recorder. Probably a much better idea. When Pete Seeger was brought to Brisbane in 1963, organised mainly by Stan Arthur and Bill Scott, part of the concert was recorded by a local radio station and transmitted a few days later on the radio, and Bob recorded the program from his home on reel-to-reel tape. It's rather rough, but a copy of the audio was digitised by our own sound man, Mark Smith. Yay, Mark! As part of the Brisbane Folk History Project. I also have a couple of copies of the Brisbane Folk book here to give away if anybody would like a copy. Now, one song collected and thoroughly researched by Bob Michelle was The Drover, which is more commonly known as Brisbane Ladies and sometimes Augathella Station. Now, I have to tell you that the original version, written by Saul Mendelsohn in 1897, had no mention of Augathella Station, Tumancy, or many of the other things mentioned in the now popular version. Bob discovered that these places were invented by the English collector Bert Lloyd, who wanted to give it a bit more oomph. It tells of the drovers who had set out from the cattle fattening yards at the foot of Mount Cootha. Legend has it that the Brisbane ladies were from a brothel at Toowong. The drove went over Blackbutt Ranges to Nanango. I am going to attempt to sing the original, more gentler version. But before I do, I just want to mention that last year we lost Dale Riddle, who was a really strong member of our folk family. And he was an instrument maker amongst other things, and Joy has brought in some of Dale's creations and has some information on Dale's instruments, and I urge you in the break to go and have a look. They're out near the front desk. So now I'm going to attempt to sing, because I learnt the original version with Augathella Station, I'm going to cheat and read the words off because I'm probably going to go back into the wrong version. Farewell and adieu to you Brisbane ladies, farewell and adieu to you girls of Toowong, for we've sold all our cattle and cannot now linger. We hope we will see you again before long. The first camp we make, we'll call it the Good Luck, Caboolture and Kilcoy and Collington Hut. We'll pull up at the stone house of Williamson's paddock, and soon the next morning we'll cross the Blackbutt, and we'll sing and we'll shout like true Queensland natives, as merrily, merrily onwards we push, until we return to the old cattle station. What joy and delight is a life in the bush. On past to Romeo and Yarram and Creek boys, it's there we will make a fine camp for the day, where the water and grass are both plenty and good, boys. The life of a drover is merry and gay. The camp is all snug and supper is over. We lounge round the fire enjoying a smoke, while yarning of home or the life of a drover, till all join in chorus of grandfather's clock. And we'll sing and we'll shout like true Queensland natives, as merrily, merrily onward we push, until we return to the old cattle station. What joy and delight is a life in the bush. Next on through Nonango, that hard-hitting township. That should have been Jolly Old Township. That was a Bert Lloydism there. I'll do that one again. Next night through Nonango, that jolly old township. Good day to you lads, with a hearty shake hands. Come on, this is my shout. Well, here's to our next trip, and we hope you will clip in tonight for our dance. Oh, the girls are so pretty, the sight is entrancing, bewitching and graceful, they join in the fun of waltz, polka, first set, and all other dancing, to the old concertina of Jack Smith the Don. And we'll sing and we'll shout like true Queensland natives, as merrily, merrily onwards we push, until we return to the old cattle station. What joy and delight is a life in the bush. Though far I have travelled through Russia and Finland, I've met the fair damsels of Poland and Spain. More lovely and fair are the darlings of Queensland. You may search the wild world for their equals in vain. Now drink to our lasses in right hearty fashion. Come sing the loud chorus, sing farewell to all. And when we return from the old cattle station, we will always be pleased to give you a call. And we'll sing and we'll shout like true Queensland natives, as merrily, merrily onwards we push, until we return to the old cattle station. What joy and delight is a life in the bush. What joy and delight is a life in the bush. All right. I would also like to mention here that I found a version of that on John Thompson's An Australian Folk Song a Day website, which is definitely worth having a look at. So I don't know why I bothered to have my glasses on for that song. I mostly know it, but anyway. I'll leave them on, what the heck. I'm now going to introduce John O'Brien, who is going to do a poem by Peter Orty. Now, a lot of people can claim Peter Orty. I knew him in the 1970s and 80s. Pete had a personality that could never be ignored. You always knew he was around. He was a dedicated Australian bush poet and Morris dancer. Pete was known for his colourful hats and passionate, often communist, community activism. He used traditional Australian bush poetry to document local life. Probably his best party piece was reciting Banjo Patterson's The Man from Ironbark, where he would enthusiastically act out all the events. Pete was very involved in the Woodford Folk Festival. He was raised to the ranks of chief garbologist, doing a splendid job of keeping the site clean and tidy. He was very inclusive and good at motivating people. In his later years, he moved to Victoria and became a country fire authority volunteer and popular community figure based in Flowerdale, Victoria, including work centred on the Black Saturday fires, which affected him greatly. And that is what these poems going to be recited by John are about. But first, Katie Vestavar sent me this toast, which was written by Orty. Here's to the bee that flies so high, the bee that gathers the honey. The poor do all the work and the rich gather the money. As sure as the world is as round as a wheel, the sting of death we all must feel. If life were a thing that money could buy, the rich would live and the poor would die. Here's to oceans of whiskey and rivers of beer and wonderful mates, and to be here next year. Thanks, John.
Yes, he wasn't. Yeah, I could never replicate that hat he was wearing in the film. You know me as Johnny Come Been Here Before. I've seen the flames, I've heard the roar. I thought I had some fair idea of the heights of success, the depths of fear. I've studied and trained and been to courses. I thought I could pick the winning horses. I thought I could see what a fire would do. And I thought that I could direct the crew. I've studied foam and the water's flow. I've studied how the fire would go, topography and the fuel load, how to make a fire break out of a road. I've trained with my mates in our brigade, fought fires with them and the times have made, talked it out, what went wrong, what went right, studied and learned how the fires to fight. But all that I knew and all that I planned flew out the door, and I'm quite unmanned because Saturday broke all of those rules, made me and the studies look like fools. Bigger and faster than I could think, my knowledge and studies pushed to the brink, my mind and my heart both numbed and cold. The fire came down like the wolf from the fold to the fold. The days have gone past and I'm writing this down. I don't understand why the fire didn't crown. I don't understand why burn this and not that. Why burn on the ridges and not on the flat. The little pink cottage surrounded by black. The mud houses reduced to wrack. The ruin, the wreck, the human cost. The homes that are gone and the lives that are lost. Now I'm Johnny who never has been here before. Johnny who didn't want to be here no more. Johnny who shared the grief and the pain. And Johnny who didn't want to go there again. And 9 months later, he wrote this down in his own words. It was the first of the hot and windy days of the next summer. And Pete, in his own words, lost the plot after having an acute anxiety attack. So he wrote this. I once was Johnny Newchum, new to the fire game. Now I'm Johnny won't be leaving, but I'm Johnny just the same. I've looked and listened and studied hard and fought fires both near and far. And I've worked with mates and strangers and we debriefed in the bar. I thought I knew what a fire could do and I found that I was wrong. I wrote it all down in a verse and I thought that I was strong. Now 9 short months have passed by and I thought I was okay. Till summer it came rushing back on one hot windy day. And on that day, and far from home, from friends and family dear, I thought of wind and heat and fuel, and I was filled with fear. I met the blue dog of anxiety that I never met before. I thought I'd seen the flames, smelt the smoke, heard the fires roar. I went in 2 short hours from a thinking, focused man to a weeping, shambling ruin, and back to Flowerdale I ran. I've been counselled and been doctored and I'm all right, I think. But now I know how close I am to that collapsing brink. So Johnny's met the blue dog and I've fallen over the line. But I've mates, friends around me. I think that I'll be fine.
Thank you, John. We are now going to have Penny and Roger do a few things. First up, they're going to sing a song by Seaman Dan. So we're going to far north Queensland to the Torres Strait Islands. Henry Gibson Dan, known as Seaman Dan, was born in 1929 on Thursday Island in the Torres Strait Islands. He was Melanesian, Polynesian and African American descent. His great-grandfather, a sailor from Kingston, Jamaica in the West Indies, and his great-grandmother, a chief's daughter from New Caledonia. Dan worked as a boat captain and pearl diver across the north of Australia, amongst other things. His singing came from his multicultural maritime working life, creating a fusion of music from Australia, Melanesia, North America, Africa and Polynesia, notably the Thursday Island hula. He released his first recording on an album called Follow the Sun. He performed throughout Australia, including, but not restricted to, the National Folk Festival, Port Fairy Folk Festival and Darwin Festival, and I saw him at the National. After that, my screen has gone blank. Penny and Roger are going to do a tribute to Bill Scott. Is that me?
That was my hearing aid.
Bill was a member of, amongst other things, I mean, Penny and Roger could tell you more about Bill because they knew him very well. He was a member of the Moreton Bay Bushwhackers Band, performing in Brisbane in the 1950s. In 1959, the Moreton Bay Bushwhackers and John Manifold's Bandicoots Band made the LP recording folk songs from Queensland. He was also involved in collecting and disseminating local folk songs with the Queensland Folklore Society, and was active in the group that brought Pete Seeger to Brisbane for a concert in the old Brisbane Stadium. As an offshoot of this, the group began the Old Folk Centre in Ann Street in Brisbane. Bill's recitation of his Uncle Art stories at the Folk Centre used to astound me, as he would read entire long paragraphs in one breath. I'd be gasping, waiting for him to breathe. He was associated with John Manifold, who edited and compiled folk songs from Queensland and the Penguin Book of Australian Folk Songs. In 1974, Bill decided to work full-time as a writer and compiled the complete Book of Australian Folklore, which is up here if you want to have a look at it. In his later years, he turned to writing occasional songs. Many of his songs are available on CD, called Opal Miner, ably arranged and performed by Roger Eilert and Penny Davies. He made cassettes of poems and songs with Penny and Roger at Restless Music. So, long-time friends of Bill, Penny and Roger will perform some of Bill's creations.
Thanks, Mary. And also thanks very much to Bruce Watson for the fantastic film that he put together there. Well done, Bruce. We knew and worked with and recorded so many of the people in that, and it makes us feel, we've been around for a while then. Now we're going to do the song that Mary mentioned, which is OTI, which, according to Bill, in his complete book of folklore, as far as Ron Edwards has been able to discover, the song was composed in 1936 aboard the lugger Pearl by a fellow named Jafar Arnat. And this is the version that Ron included in his Overlander songbook.
I think Seaman Dan made it famous though.
He did, and also it travelled everywhere and became Old PI, Old Palm Island, in some places, and has had various amendments to the melody as well, including this one too. So do sing along.
OTI, my beautiful home, that's the place where I was born. The sun and the moon that shine make me long for home. OTI, my beautiful home. TI, my beautiful home. TI, my home, sweet home. Oh, please won't you take me where the sun is sinking? Farewell. Why are you looking so sad? Why are you feeling so blue? I'm thinking of someone far away in that beautiful place called TI. Oh, TI, my beautiful home, that's the place where I was born. The sun and the moon that shine make me long for home. Oh, TI, my beautiful home. Take me across the sea, over the deep blue sea, where someone I love is waiting OTI, my beautiful home. That's the place where I was born. The sun and the moon that shine make me long for home. OTI, my beautiful home. OTI, my beautiful home.
My beautiful home.
That's the place where I was born. The sun and the moon that shine make me long for home. OTI, my beautiful home. OTI, my beautiful home. OTI, my beautiful home.
Thanks very much. We never got to play in TI, but we toured all around Queensland. But the closest we ever got was we were playing in Cooktown, and a couple of people sailed all the way down from TI to see us play. So that was pretty cool. I have to say they were very well off though. They could afford to do it. Bill Scott. We recorded this song that we're going to do in a minute 40 years ago, just before Penny met Bill. She was working on Folklore Conference video, and that's when Penny met Bill, and we became firm friends ever since then.
Then he moved to Warwick, and we moved to Stanthorpe, and we used to have lunches together, and he came to visit us one day, and we weren't in, and he left a watermelon with Bill carved in the skin, so we'd know he'd been there. It was so good. This is a poem that he wrote, which we're going to use to introduce the first song, and it's about writing. It's about that thing that happens when you're searching for the right words to put together to make a song or a poem. It's called Opal Minor. Deep in the shaft I chip alone, where sunsets sleep in the dry brown stone. Scrape of shovel blade, tap of pick, flickering light from the burning wick. Long ago, before there were clocks, a rainbow crept inside these rocks. Now in the darkness I burrow and creep, waking that light from its age-old sleep. Pot of gold at the rainbow's end, the sunset colours that shift and blend. I hammer and tap, scrape and strain till I bring them back to light again. I may never see the day when the stone shines bright as the Milky Way, but some other miner, when I'm long gone, may discover the dream that drove me on. My blue-green eyes, my blood's red streams, golden hope and harlequin dreams may shine like colour in the dry brown stone, as underground she chips alone.
Sing along with this one, eh?
Hey rain, rain coming down on the cane, on the roofs of the town. Hey rain, rain coming down on the cane, on the roofs of the town. There's rain on my hands and rain on my face. Oh, muddy oldness fails, a muddy wet place. Hey rain, hey rain. And there's rain in me beer and rain in me grub, and they've just fitted anchors to the Garradonga pub. Hey rain, hey rain. Hey rain, rain coming down on the cane, on the roofs of the town. There's a Johnson River crocodile living in me fridge, and a bloody great tree on the Jubilee Bridge. Hey rain, hey rain. And the monsoon sky has sprung a leak from Flying Fish Point down to Millstream Creek. Hey Hey, rain, rain coming down on the cane, on the roofs of the town. And the storm clouds are sober I can be. There's an old flying fox in the Moreton Bay fig. Hey, rain, hey, rain. It's the worst wet season we've ever had. And I'd swim down to Tully, but it's just as bloody bad. Hey, rain, hey, rain. Hey, rain, rain coming down on the cane, on the roofs of the town. Hey, rain, rain coming down on the cane, on the roofs of the town. Hey, rain, hey, rain, hey, rain, hey, rain, hey, rain.
Thanks, Bill, for that one. Bill and Mavis Scott were two of the most wonderful people you'd ever want to meet, the most loving and caring people. We were very privileged to have them as close friends.
And of course, Bill was a wonderful poet. He wrote novels as well. Some of us may have studied some of his novels at school. This is a poem that he wrote called North Queensland, which we're going to use as the introduction to the next song. Below dark jungled ridges stretch the flats, plumed and arrowed by the feathered cane, the twisted skein of creeks binding the land with threads of clear water, swamps of palm and lily falling to coral sand or mangrove mud. Gundi and Garadunga, Darraji, Bumpcle Creek, Faluga, Friday Pocket, Sundown, Darrow and Moresby, all those names that weave in memory as the creeks web the land with watery silver tangle, and names enough to bring the daydream and the secret smile, remembering crocodile and flying bats, wild pig and cassowary, and a sad green turtle weeping at Murdering Point. Flying Fish Point, Babinda, Ubanangi, old names that chime with memories of dead men, red faces round dim fires who sang old songs and told old stories, till the sun leapt up fiery over the offshore islands. Let my body die where it will, my spirit's gone north, with the high far flight of wintering egrets, white in the sunlight, north of Capricorn. I've wandered east, I've wandered west, from the Hammersley Range to the snowy crest, from the Lachlan Plains to the Broken Hill, but my heart's at the Johnston River still. Now the time has come when I must return, where the vine scrub grows and the cane fires burn, where the vine scrub grows and the cane fires burn. By the Yarra now the cold rain falls and the wind is bleak from the Bass Strait squalls. I stand and wonder in the chill, has the season started at Mulgrave Mill? For autumn comes and I must return, where the harvesters chug and the trash fires burn, where the harvesters chug and the trash fires burn. The smog is thick and stings the eye, where the harbour bridge fills half the sky, and the sirens wail through Sydney town. But a dream of Tully when the sun goes down, where the rainforest covers the hills with green, the cane grows tall and the air is clean, the cane grows tall and the air is clean. I've been wandering south and west, on land and sea, but the north is best. Now autumn comes with its hint of snows, and I must follow where the egret goes, to watch the evening's first faint star from Flying Fish Point or Yarrabah, from Flying Fish Point or Yarrabah. I've wandered east, I've wandered west, from the Hammersley Range to the snowy crest, from the Lachlan Plains to the Broken Hill, but my heart's at the Johnston River still. Now the time has come when I must return, where the vine scrub grows and the cane fires burn, where the vine scrub grows and the cane fires burn, where the vine scrub grows and the cane fires burn.
Thanks very much. We recorded that one back in 1999 and it got a lot of airplay on the ABC at the time. Okay, we're going to keep going.
Bill was a sailor at some time in his life. He did many things. He was a gold prospector. He just had a most amazing life. He wrote a book called Tough in the Old Days, which is really great to read if you can find a copy. There might be one in the library. And when he was a sailor, he kept a diary on one of his trips. He was on the what's it called? Cape Lewin, which was a lighthouse supply ship. It sailed all around the coast of Queensland. And he kept a diary for a few months in 1942.
55.
Sorry. He was how old?
55.
55. No. Yeah, in 1955. And we turned that into a podcast last year sometime. So that's on YouTube, and it's called The Cape Lewin Diaries, if you want to have a look at that. It's a really great little story of life on the ocean waves and all those sort of amazing tales of a young man at sea.
And we recorded so many little songs over the years. There are two collections of his songs, Opal Minor and Opal Minor 2. So we're doing all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I thought we were doing Running the Channel. Oh, sorry. I've done the wrong introduction.
No, that's all right, because I'm looking at the clock.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, Ian's in charge, okay.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll do both the songs we were going to do then.
Okay.
I'm very worried about this clock, though.
Yeah.
Hey, I made that.
Alright,
We always like being on time.
Let's do them quickly.
We're going to do them quickly, okay. All right.
To the swelling inland channels come the flighting ducks in multitudes, with pelicans in fleets that sail like schooners down the sky. The black swans point their arrowheads toward the filling billabongs, and Dorcas dance the breaking of the 5-year dry. Believe me, there are multitudes of acrobatic parakeets to celebrate the seeding of the grasses and the shrubs. A seething green and yellow mob that fossick in the tussock grass, or shriek and wheel in terror of the hawk that hangs above. Fat frogs are burrowing upward from their time of sleep and burial, silent under spider webs of cracked, eroded mud, till each pool has its complement. Enthusiastic choristers are croaking psalms of glory for the Diamantina flood. To the swelling inland channels come the flighting ducks in multitudes, with pelicans and fleets that sail like schooners down the sky. The black swans point their arrowheads toward the filling billabongs, and rollers dance the breaking of the 5-year dry. Rollers dance the breaking of the 5-year dry. Rollers dance the breaking of the 5-year dry.
The wonderful wordsmith, Bill. Anyway, he wrote this song. It's called Old Man Song. I call it Senior Citizens Song these days. He wrote this when he was 65, reflecting on his young life at sea and digging for gold, etc. And we recorded this when I was in my 30s. That's a fair while ago now, and I always thought, 65, you know, you never get to 65. Sit around in the sun like Bill says you do in this song. And in fact, I never get to sit around and do what Bill says in this song, even though I'm way past 65 now. Anyway, it's a lovely song. It's called Senior Citizen Song or Old Man Song, and it's got a nice chorus, so just join in on the last line. And thank you very much, Mary, for having us, and thanks to Ian and everybody else. It's been our pleasure. When I was a young man, I followed the gold, deep in a mine shaft or muddy and cold, deep in the dark with a flickering light, but never a nugget to gladden me sight. But it's way, hey, now I am old. The mornings were silver, the sunsets were gold. Way, hey, now I am old. The mornings were silver, the sunsets were gold. When I was a young man, I followed the sea. Cold, wet and shivering often I'd be, rocked in the crow's nest or rolled down below, or sweating me soul out where the Gulf traders go. But it's way, hey, now I am old. The oceans were sapphires, the beaches were gold. Way, hey, now I am old. The oceans were sapphires, the beaches were gold. Now I am an old man, I sit in the sun, thinking and dreaming of things that I've done, remembering laughter, forgetting the pain, and I'd go out and do it all over again. For it's way, hey, lifted along. What good is your life if it isn't a song? Way, hey, lifted along. What good is your life if it isn't a song? Way, hey, lifted along. What good is your life if it isn't a song? Way, hey, lifted along. What good is your life if it isn't a song? Thanks, Bill. And there is a documentary film about Bill called What Good Is Your Life If It Isn't a Song. It's just on YouTube, so look that one up as well. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you, Penny and Roger. And we have a short break of 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll come back with Salty Sirens and Nicole Murray and many friends. And we'll be doing Harry Robertson songs, a tune by June Nichols, and of course some John Thompson, so stick around.
And before I let you go, just to remind everybody, the raffle